Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Join us Friday, April 24th through Sunday, April 26th for our first homestand of the season and our 5th anniversary celebration. Score big with $5 tickets. Grab $5 domestic draft beers. Enjoy $5 popcorn. And yes, 2 Nathan's hot dogs for just $5. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats. In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, we are back. Hello. Wow. So those 8 beautiful women in Iran were poised to be hanged to death for various crimes like making a prank phone call, wearing their hair in public. Somebody else, I think, looked at a guy funny, and they were going to hang them this morning. Fantastic news. President Trump actually went out on a limb. You know, he called on Iran to not kill them, and they didn't. This just came out a little while ago, actually moments ago. I got this from the White House. Very good news. I have just been informed that the 8 women protesters who were going to be executed tonight in Iran will no longer be killed. 4 will be released immediately, and 4 will be sentenced to 1 month in prison. I very much appreciate that Iran and its leaders respected my request as President of the United States and terminated the planned execution. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, it was just yesterday, and I heard people say, ooh, he's going out on a limb. You know, he's going to look very weak. He'll look weak if this doesn't happen. If he doesn't, if they put him to death, he'll look weak. Well, he will have tried. Yesterday, he said to the Iranian leaders who will soon be in negotiations with my representatives, I would greatly appreciate the release of these women. I am sure they will respect the fact that you did so. I think that's code for they're not going to cause you any problems. Please do them no harm. Would be a great start to our negotiations. And I said at the time, you know, Obama would not make those kinds of calls. He'd say things like, cut it out, right? What did Biden say? Don't. As if that was supposed to be chilling and scare people. He laid it out, and they didn't do what we wanted them not to do. So this is a win. It's also just a great humanitarian gesture. A lot of people, this is the key, and this is one of the reasons why the swamp can't stand him. He will do things before the swamp has signed off on it, right? You think they would just issue a communique like this, you know, in 30 seconds, putting out a message for the President of the United States? No, these things have got to be lawyered, and they have to be 1 draft, 2 draft, send it back down to the interagency, and they got to work on it. They propose it again, and like 8 months later, it gets to the president's desk, and they give him 3 choices. Right? No, that doesn't. You know, imagine a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful restaurant. What's the nicest restaurant you've ever been to? The nicest restaurant I've ever been to is Per Se. It's called Per Se. Like, I wouldn't say that per se. Per Se. It's in Columbus Circle in New York City. It's one of those 6-course, 7-course meal places. I actually loved it. I would recommend it. It was very expensive. But first of all, it's the most luxurious atmosphere you've ever been in. The staff, the wait staff, they're incredibly kind. You know what I mean? I don't know anything about food. They didn't make me feel inferior. They weren't snobs. They were just like, welcome to our restaurant. You know, what are your, you know, and we had a conversation about stuff. And they were just perfect in every way. And the food was delectable and all that stuff. And it felt like a very, very special occasion. So, but take a restaurant like that. That restaurant is like the White House, right? It's like the White House. When you get elected president, let's pretend the White House is actually Per Se restaurant. And getting elected president means you get to go to Per Se restaurant, right? And you're sitting there in this table in this luxurious place, and the wait staff is very, very nice, right? And they present you options, right? I mean, they have a menu. It's a limited menu. There's only so many things you can put on a menu. And they got 50,000 guys working in the back. Instead of like 100 chefs or 50 chefs, imagine they got 50,000 people, actually a couple of million people working in the kitchen. And there, you think you're running that restaurant because you're sitting there eating in it? No. There's so many more influential people than you, the president of the United States, sitting and eating in per se restaurant, right? The swamp, the deep state, they're running it. They just present you with options. And guess what? They control the kitchen. They're going to control what options you actually see, right? And the CIA and the FBI and the DNI and the DIA and the LIA and the LIR, and they all come in there and they present option 1, option 2, option 3. Every now and then a president will say, I want more options. Okay, here's option 4. You got to pick one. Time's up. Okay. So President Trump threw all of that out the window. Number one, the man's in the restaurant business. Okay. He's been dealing with restaurants all of his life, right? I'm just analogous here. And he doesn't want to sit in that restaurant. He doesn't want to eat your food. He knows how this stuff is cooked. He said, why don't we go out here? Why don't we go over here and cook it up normally? Because actually this place, this per se restaurant, this is not the source of the executive power. The Constitution is. The Constitution says, I am the president. No matter where I am, I don't have to sit in your restaurant. I don't have to pick off your menu. I can go out and fire up a grill, start cooking hamburgers myself and serving them to the people, serving them to my friends, serving them to my enemies. I'm calling the shots. I'm running this restaurant. I'm running the show. Does that make sense? Because quite frankly, the analogy is brilliant, in my opinion. And it explains a lot. So when you're running your own restaurant and you're calling your own shots, you are not going to be beholden to others. The staff, the wait staff, the maitre d', the kitchen, the busboys, all that stuff is nonsense. And none of that stuff is in the Constitution either. Right? So that's why this is so pure. It's so beautiful. And guys like that, if you're sitting in per se restaurant and you're being waited on hand and foot, right? You get this idea that everything you do is supposed to be just magnificent and everything is to be provided for you. And it really stifles initiative. Presidents become almost passive in the weirdest way. They become passive. Every now and then they may tell the per se management, okay, I want to throw a party this week and I need you guys to, make some different food and, it's a party and they'll make one big exception for you. One big exception. Then President Trump has thrown that model out and the Constitution says he can. Oh, and back to if you're sitting there as a traditional president, you don't want to look bad. Hey, everybody's looking at you. You're the president. You're eating fine dining and it's just such an elegant process. It's elegant. But if you ask for something that's not on the menu, or if you leave the restaurant and say, hey, you guys across the street, you want to come in here? What if they say no? Right? You can't look bad. You're the president of the United States. You're our number one customer. We can't have you go looking bad because that will actually diminish our power. If you look bad, then the stuff, your authority is diminished. And then it's less likely that you can get done the stuff that we want done, these choices that we provide you. So it's very interesting. Obama never wanted to break a sweat for anybody, right? Other than for himself and those dopey workouts. The man would work out 3 times a day. What kind of man works out 3 times a day? It's self-absorbed. No, you don't want to be one of those guys. What else do we want to do? Hey, real quick, this is the Mamdani video I was telling you about. He shows up at somebody's house and starts hassling them. You can't do that. You got to leave people alone. He goes right into their house and starts hassling them. Cut 11, please. Cut 11.
How you doing, sir?
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm all right.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
Mayor Mamdani, we're here to inspect the home and to make sure everything's up to code.
You're in charge now.
All right, ready?
Space.
Tell me where to go.
You want to check the window guard?
Okay. 11 is a negative.
That's $20. It's broken. This is not supposed to be.
There's a lot of New Yorkers who live with a worry about whether or not the conditions they're living in are actually up to code. As you can see, it's the city's job to deliver on that.
Yeah.
You identified, I think, breaking the plaster. This guy's top tier. Top tier. I kept walking too fast. He was like,
All right. What else did you find in there, Ma'am Dammy and your little henchman buddy? Cut 12. Yeah.
We're also going to hit them with a window guard violation.
Hit 'em.
And then we have here the one violation for the local law 86.
Which is the incomplete information on the side?
No, that's another one.
That's another one.
That's a different one. So that's two.
Another one.
Yes, so that's two.
Okay. It was a pleasure to be here at this building with a number of inspectors from HPD to ensure that these conditions are up to code. And what these inspectors showed me and showed tenants across this building is the inspections for heat violations, for paint peeling violations, for even just the information that is plastered as you come into the building.
Well, they're leaving some things out because I saw the video. They get them on putting flower pots outside their window. Flower pots. You can't have any flower pots outside. They're telling these poor people how to live and what to do. I had the mayor of the city of New York measuring the drapes. Measuring the drapes. Are they in sync? Measuring the child guard. People are allowed to take care of their own kids. People, that is up to them, not you. Stay the hell out of it. But here's the key to Mamdani. He thinks that all of this stuff is his, not ours. Yep. He said it out loud. You know, look, homelessness. Why do we have homeless people? We have homeless people because we have crazy people and because we have a lot of addiction out there, right? He doesn't care really what the reason is, but the solution is, well, should give you nightmares. Cut 10.
My platform is that every single person should have housing. And I think faced with these two options, the system has hundreds of thousands of people unhoused, right? For what? And if there was any system that could guarantee each person housing, whether you call it the abolition of private property or you call it, just a statewide housing guarantee, it is preferable to what is going on right now.
Did he call the abolition? Did you hear that? The abolition of private property. Speaks fast. The abolition of private. If it takes the abolition of private property, that's what we're going to do. Well, I believe that might be a violation of my constitutional rights and your constitutional rights. Okay. 34 years old, calling the shots for a city of 8 million people. Yet, just walking into an apartment like that, why isn't he where the street gang met for the donut contest the other night? I understand also there's another review for stop and frisk. Stop, question, and frisk. You know what stop, question, and frisk is? A police officer sees something suspicious. He has the right to stop you, question you, and if necessitated, frisk you. Okay? What did they find yet again? Why don't they like this? Right? They think that it's racist because the predominant majority of the people they're stopping happen to be black or Hispanic. Isn't that terrible? Isn't that awfully terrible? No, it's not. Because a disproportionate amount of the crime is happening, quite frankly, among black and Hispanic communities. It's not a nice fact, but it's a fact. If you want stop and frisk, you really want stop and frisk to be equitable, what do you got to start doing? You got to start frisking women. 98% of the people who are stopped are men. Is that sexist? Is it sexist against men? Where are the women? Right? If you want to do this fairly, based on demographics, this is how absurd. And you know who was involved in this? Those Southern Poverty Law Center people. Hey, before we go, do you have my Satan's Helpers clip? I think you do, right? Oh, I gave it to Justin from the Pee Wee Herman guys. All right, we'll find it out later. Okay, Pee Wee Herman. It was a movie that I saw a long time ago. It confused me thoroughly, but I still remember this scene when Pee Wee went into the wrong place. Go ahead.
I barely touched them. I say we kill him. Yeah! I say we hang him, then we kill him. Yeah! I say we stomp him. Yeah! Then we tattoo him. Yeah! Then we hang him. Yeah! And then we kill him. Yeah! I say we let him go. No!
Well,
I say you let me have him first.
Wait, don't I get a last request? Why not?
okay. And then he sings a great big song. That movie was weird. That movie was weird. So was Pee Wee, by the way. Paul Rubens. You know what happened to him, right? Well, it wasn't exactly all downhill when they caught him in the theater manipulating himself. He went on to do a great movie called Blow with some of the greatest actors. With that guy from 21 Jump Street. He was great in that movie, but he died suddenly, mysteriously, just like some of those scientists. Yeah, the scientist thing is very strange. All right. At first I wanted to dismiss it. At first I wanted to say, oh, this is just no, something real and something sinister is going on with these guys and girls. America's best, brightest brains helping our nuclear and military evaporating or dying or suddenly suiciding themselves. Very strange. Very strange. And we have to find out fast. I do not like this. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. You know, have you ever seen a cross burning ever in your life? I've seen it on television. I saw it in, what the hell movie did I watch? You know, they burn a cross, the Klan. The Klan is a bit of a joke, and so are neo-Nazis. Nobody pays any attention to them if they still exist. And everybody remember the Blues Brothers, right? When they ran all those guys off. That's how everybody feels about the neo-Nazis. Nobody likes them. Except for the Southern Poverty Law Center. Some guys I'm going to start calling the Southern haters, because that's what they are. This group, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Joe Biden's very essence as a person, as a president, was based on what we call the Charlottesville hoax, right? The Charlottesville hoax. Oh, this reopens the whole Charlottesville hoax thing. Forgot about that. I almost forgot about one of the most important hoaxes ever. President Biden saying that President Trump said that there were good people on both sides. Oh my goodness gracious. And now it turns out that the Democrat allies were actually funding that whole thing. They wanted that riot. Well, this is awesome stuff. This blows it all wide open. Look at this. $1 million for the National Alliance, $300,000 for the Aryan Nations, $270,000 to Unite the Right, $140,000 to the National Alliance chairman, $73,000 to KKK members. These are what's remnants of joke groups that had nothing going for them, right? The white supremacy, nobody's jokes, until they were propped up by leftist organizations with money, logistics help, maybe even messaging. So the Southern Poverty Law Center, aka the Southern haters, could come in and say, aha, there's racism everywhere. Give us more money and please indict President Trump. Busted. Thank you, Todd Blanche.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, the more we go through this indictment, we realize it's more than an indictment of some silly group in Alabama. It's an indictment of the Democrat Party, the administration of Joe Biden, anybody who ever touched his campaign, the organizers, the media firms, everybody who. This is a vast left-wing conspiracy. Don't hear about left-wing conspiracies all that much, do you, right? It's a left-wing conspiracy. This Charlottesville, now we know the real Charlottesville hoax. The Charlottesville hoax. The real Charlottesville hoax. Remember? Do you remember that Charlottesville thing? Right? I mean, it's kind of faded away. What the hell happened down there anyway? Joe, there was a design, it was a race riot, but it was designed to be a race riot by the left. So Joe Biden could have a wholesome platform to run on. And then they could even further besmirch Trump and MAGA with lies. And it's a setup. It's like, it's January 6th. Joe Biden announcing his campaign for president 2019. Go ahead.
Charlottesville is also home to a defining moment for this nation in the last few years. It was there on August of 2017 we saw Klansmen and white supremacists and neo-Nazis come out in the open. Their crazed faces, illuminated by torches, veins bulging and bearing the fangs of racism, chanting the same anti-Semitic bile heard across Europe in the 30s. And they were met by a courageous group of Americans, and a violent clash ensued. And a brave young woman lost her life. And that's when we heard the words of the President of the United States that stunned the world and shocked the conscience of this nation. He said there were, quote, some very fine people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides? With those words, the President of the United States assigned a moral equivalence between those spreading hate and those with the courage to stand against it.
And at that moment, Joe Biden knew he had to run for president or else all was lost. So, just as you know by now, President Trump did not say that neo-Nazis and white supremacists were very fine people. He said those who were demonstrating in favor of heritage and history, right? Look, you can be a Civil War buff. You can be in favor of the Confederate flag or Confederate statues not being torn down and not be a neo-Nazi or whatever. And by the way, you know, everybody is a child of God, all right? Crazy communists are children of God. Crazy white supremacists are children of God. Yes, they've lost their way, all right? But President Trump was specifically referring to the people who were not the neo-Nazis, not the white supremacists, who were just saying that we shouldn't take down these monuments. And there were and there are people, including myself, who feel that way. All right? It doesn't make us racist or skinheads or anything like that. But you heard the entire rationale. And now I'm looking, this whole thing, the Southern Poverty Law Center engineered that. They paid money to the organizer. They helped set up transportation for the people to be there. I mean, they may be accessory to a murder, this Heather Heyer, because somebody had to die for this thing to be shocking. You know what I mean? Like when something happens, like the first question, well, did anybody die? If nobody died, it's no big deal. But somebody died. Like January 6th, they could call it a deadly insurrection because, well, they killed Ashley Babbitt. Suddenly it's much more important because a life has been lost, and it is. But why did that happen? I feel like they had to have a life lost so they could make it even more politically important, and with their lies about what President Trump did and said and how he acted, more politically toxic. It's really something else. These sons of bitches got caught again. You got to be kidding me, Robert. You've actually seen a cross burning? Where the hell was that?
Yeah. Hey, Greg. So in 66, 67, I was about 8 years old. I'm 67 now. We took a trip to Florida. My father loaded everybody up in the Impala. And this was before 95 was finished or was being built. So we're heading through all these southern towns, and we were in Georgia, and it was night, and we got stopped at a roadblock. And there was a Georgia trooper there with a German Shepherd on a chain, and across the street was a roller rink with a huge cross burning, and everybody was going around it with burning torches. Greg, I will never forget it as long as I live. My father said to the trooper, "What's going on?" And the trooper said to my father, "Cross burning, boy, now move it."
Huh. Where was this again?
Yes.
Upstate New York?
No. Someplace in Georgia. I can't tell you what town. I was a kid, you know. But that is a God's honest truth, and it stuck with me my whole life.
Look, I didn't say it didn't happen. I mean, you know, they certainly haven't happened lately. And I'm also confused as like, you know, what message is that meant to send? I mean, like the people burning the cross are kind of like, in my view, they're the ones who are kind of blasphemous. It's like, I never doubted that it happened. Well, you were 8 years old, long time ago. What, they were upset at the roller rink?
No, they had the rally in the roller rink parking lot.
Wow. All right. Well, you got the hell out of Georgia. Georgia's different now. I mean, they got Senator Ossoff. Senator Ossoff is their senator. Well, anyway, that's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. You were just an 8-year-old kid. What the hell were you doing in Georgia?
My parents loaded everybody up in the 64 Impala with camping gear, 6 of us, and did the old trip to Florida, in the 60s. The message they sent is a 67-year-old man retired from the New York State Department of Corrections up in here in Albany has never forgotten it.
Well, that's pretty interesting. It's interesting also, why do people, so you were, just passing through. Well, thank you for sharing that story. And, it's pretty wild, but you got to admit, it's a long time ago. I mean, that is, 60 years ago. 60 years ago. So this doesn't happen every day. There are a lot of people on the left. They want this to, they want people to think that this is white supremacy nation. And it's not, right? You never saw anything like that after that. So, hey, real quick before you go, you were a corrections officer. What jail were you in?
So I started in Sing Sing during the riot in 82, the B Block riot. Then I went to Greenhaven, downstate, Coxsackie, Green, and I retired out of Hudson Correctional in upstate New York, the city of Hudson.
What was the most famous prisoner you ever encountered?
Deveron LeGrand.
What did he do?
He's the one. So he's responsible for the nuns that run around Times Square begging for money.
Mm-hmm.
And he disappeared a couple of those, and that's what he went to jail for. And then Arthur Shawcross, who was a serial killer from the Rochester, Utica area.
Huh. Was he weird?
All of them are weird.
I bet. And what is that like going home every day from prison? You know what I mean? I always wonder what the life is like of a corrections officer. I mean, every day, I don't know, you're in prison every day. And, you can come and go, but it's got to have an impact on you somehow, right? A third of your life is spent in a prison where people don't want to be. You know what I mean? Like, does that have an effect somehow?
I did it.
What?
Guess how many years I did that?
I'm going to guess 40.
32 years.
All right. Well, you got a nice big pension, I hope.
Yeah, I do. I live very comfortably, but I earned it.
Yeah. No, good for you. Good for you. Well, I'm fascinated by jail. Every now and then I have a dream I'm going to jail. Not for a long time, but for like a year. And it's so. One other quick question about prison. Is the food as bad as they say?
Give me a call later and we'll talk about it.
Well, what do you mean by that?
I can give you, if you want to interview me about, what it was like being a corrections officer, I can go deeper.
Yeah, but food, was it good or bad, basically?
Oh, the food?
Yeah.
The food was cooked in every prison. It was, it was hygienic. It was edible. It had to pass certain tests and stuff like that. But then they went to what's called a quick chill program, which is designed by General Foods, and everything comes in stuffed in bologna tubes. That's the only way I can describe it.
Well, it's fascinating.
And then they squeeze it out of the tube, shoot it into a pan, heat it up, and serve it.
Wow. Robert, you earned it. You earned that retirement. Thank you very much for your service. Seriously. Thank you, sir. See you later.
Yes.
Yeah, working in a jail. Oh gosh, that's got to be intense. And I'm also fascinated by the prisoners. I met a convicted killer once who got out of jail. He got out, he did his time, 20 years. He killed somebody. He was sorry for it. He regretted it. But, I talked to him about everything. And, I asked him if he ever apologized to the family of the man he killed. And he said, it's interesting. You don't actually get to do that. You can do it, but you have to write, you can't write directly to the family. You got to write to another address and then they take care of the rest. By the way, burning a cross, here's the little thing here. It's not symbolism. It's a message. It's meant we're here. We're organized. You're not safe. Historically, it was used to intimidate families and communities, often as a warning of violence to come. I'm still a little bit taken. Why did they, right? If you believe in God, if you believe in Jesus, why would you burn a cross? That seems like a very menacing. It also doesn't seem at all Christian. We're not supposed to be that way. Fortunately, we're not that way. It's an ancient ghost story. Don't fall for it. Be right back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So, I want to say a few things about my friends in the House of Representatives. Please get serious. Too many of them. You know what it is? It's a re-election machine. It is all about re-election. It is not about governance. It is the strangest setup ever. It was never that great, and it's getting worse. And 9/11 happened because of this, baby. 9/11 absolutely happened because of this. Iran's mines in the Strait of Hormuz ensure that the global economy may be screwed over for another 6 months or so. Is it true? 6 months? Well, I don't think it's that long, but there's growing concern about the mines. Look, there's concern about everything in war. There is concern about every little thing in wartime. I can't get my hands around this, right? There's disinformation. There's misinformation. There's the typical fake news that happens whenever President Trump is involved in anything. But at this point, this has been going on for 6 weeks. I think we have 13 Americans dead, which is terrible, but in the grand scheme of things, it's an acceptable loss. Hate to put it that way, but we've lost more than 13 guys in training at times, right? In a helicopter crash off the coast of Camp Pendleton. These things happen. And just because it happened doesn't delegitimize the war effort. This is a just war. This is a good war. If we were to just sit on our hands and watch them get a nuclear weapon, this would be, we can't. I am so glad. And right now things are much better, it seems to me, than are being portrayed. Unfortunately, too many, I guess they were, you want to call them rhinos, you want to call them the woke right, you want to call them whatever you want to call them. I'm talking about, the Tucker crowd, who just went totally wobbly and anti-war, in part because they were so supportive of the phony baloney Iraq war. That whole crew, they were so down with invading Iraq and getting the weapons of mass destruction because so many of them felt emasculated on 9/11 when those towers came down. There was nothing for them to do, right? They felt weird about it. What do we do? I understand that feeling. I personally didn't have it myself because I was right down there when World Trade Center 7 came down. And by the way, I realized that I know something kind of important about that. I never thought about it until recently, but the whole notion that these things were detonated, right? There was the explosives were in the building, and I don't believe that. I believe these buildings were knocked down by the terrorists. That's what happened. I believe that. I know that. I'll say this about when World Trade Center 7, I did not hear any explosion. I didn't hear any, detonation. I know what that sounds like. And then, no, what I heard was a slow roar that started quiet and then became incredibly loud. Kind of like that. And then it was overwhelming and there was smoke everywhere. That's when World Trade Center 7 came down. And I still see online people saying all the time, that was controlled detonation. There's proof. No, I've looked at all those videos. It doesn't say what you think it says, or it doesn't show what you say it shows. Hey, real quick, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has issued an injunction blocking enforcement of California's new law that requires ICE agents to unmask and wear visible ID, arguing it violates the Supremacy Clause because it attempts to directly regulate the United States in its performance of government functions. That means the ICE agents in California can continue to be masked. In an ideal world, I don't like it. I mean, I don't like the way it looks. I just don't like it, but the way that social media works these days, and in about 20 seconds, you put somebody's face on social media. Hey, Twitter, find this guy, and they'll find him. And they'll hassle him and his family, and who knows what else could happen. This is for the safety of these guys, which is definitely, it's not like being a lawmaker where they love getting threats so they can get enhanced security. These guys are on their own. These guys are totally on their own. Who's this? Richie, hello.
Yes, hold on there.
Wait,
I'm going to take you off speaker. Hold on.
Richie, I'm going to put you on hold, all right? Let me go to Joe in Mount Sinai. Hi.
Hi, Greg. I'm a little upset about the war, and it's not, because I'm worried about anything that's going on there, I could care less.
Oh,
but America first doesn't mean that you put the fall elections, you put us in jeopardy because of this stupid war, and just bomb them and get out. Now they're playing him. They don't come to the table next week. You ever make collections? When you make collections, you know when somebody's BSing you. All right? Now it's time to break their legs. It's simple as that.
Simple as that, hey, Joe? Simple as that. What do you mean by that? How do you break their legs? What do you got in mind?
Is power plants, do one bridge and say there'll be another one in 12 hours if you don't submit to what we want. And just keep doing that. Show strength.
Well,
he's being played.
All right. I got to defer to President Trump, and I got to defer to Vice President Vance, right? This is what it looks like based on what you are seeing on your phone and on television, right? This is your sense of things. You do know that there is this fog of war, and everything is foggy right now. Everything is foggy. All right? We're going to start bombing. That may happen within the next couple of minutes. It may happen. I don't care. You know what? I'm done worrying about the gosh damn midterms of 2026. You got to do the right thing. This is not just about winning elections. This is about doing the right thing. And you got to do the right thing all the way up and let the chips fall where they may. Now, I think a miracle, I think something huge and awe-inspiring is going to happen in those midterms. But I want to stop worrying about it. And I think you should too. I appreciate it, pal. One more. Mike is standing by. Hi, Mike. Is he in? Line 5.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Greg, is anybody investigating fake daycare centers in the city or on Long Island?
Yes.
Such as they had in Minneapolis.
I don't know, actually. I hope so. I must say I haven't looked into that. What's going on? Are they fake?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if Minneapolis had a great scam going, I'm sure there's somebody in New York figured out how to do it.
Well, maybe. We don't have the same Somali community here that they did there. And in Somalia, it's almost required of citizenship. You're supposed to steal from the government. It's very much in their culture. We don't have the same kind of Somali community in our area. And I know there are very good Somalis, right? But wow, it's a real cultural thing. Yeah, somebody should look into that. And that somebody just might be me. Stay tuned. All right. Stay tuned. Thank you very much for calling. Yes. The panel granted the United States motion for an injunction pending appeal enjoining the state of California, Governor Gavin Newsom and the silly attorney general there, from applying or enforcing the No Vigilantes Act. No Vigilantes Act requires any non-uniformed federal law enforcement officer operating in California, with narrow exceptions, to visibly display identification. Requires any non-uniformed federal officer to visibly display identification while performing federal law enforcement duties, and officers who violate the law face criminal prosecution by the state. Wait a second. Any non-uniformed federal law enforcement officer, that includes undercover, right? This is another thing. Liberals are all verklempt about undercover cops. They don't like it, right? So that they've been reaching, like Mamdani and Eric Adams before him, a modification. They don't wear the uniform, but you give them a T-shirt that says cops on it, right? So it just confuses everybody.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?